Hi, welcome back to One Dish, Two Ways. I'm Sheila and Joe's behind the camera. So we are well into football season, so we thought we would do another appetizer. And immediately when he said that, I said, when we had our little meeting about what video to do, I said, we got to do little weenies. He goes, well, what are you going to have? I'm going to have carrots. I'm going to turn these carrots into little barbecue weenies. And you're going to say, carrot does not taste like a weenie. This is true. I am not saying that this is going to magically turn into a wiener, but we are going to get the flavor, that smoky flavor that hot dogs or these little weenies have. And that's the first step of this video, is you've got to get the flavoring onto these carrots. And so I have opted to do that in my Instapot. So first we need to make our marinade. If you've ever heard of a carrot dog, where you actually take a long carrot, you put it in a marinade, and then you grill it, and you put it on a bun, you put all your regular toppings on it. It is shockingly better than what you think it would be. I'm just going to tell you. So this is the same marinade that you could use for that. In this case, I'm going to use it to make the weenies. So in here, I've got a half a cup of vegetable broth, and now I need to add to it. So I need to add 1/4 cup of tamari or low sodium soy sauce, your choice. I was worried I was going to run out. Just about, look at that. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I was cooking a bunch yesterday and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'll have enough tamari, but I did, so that was good. And we need 1/4 cup of rice vinegar. Oh, what did I do? Pour that in. Now, for an Instapot to work, you need 1 cup of water. It's got to have water in order to put that pressure on it. So this marinade is exactly 1 cup. So that is why it's able to work. If you had, just to keep that in mind, if you don't have at least a cup of water, your thing will never come up to pressure and it'll never work. We need 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. And the most key ingredient to all of this is your liquid smoke. This does so much to, I cut portobello mushrooms into thin slices, made a similar marinade with the liquid smoke, and put it in the oven yesterday for an hour. And it had bacon flavor. It was amazing. And it wasn't that I'm trying to recreate meat. It was an assignment for my class, number 1. But it was interesting that you could do that. And a lot of that is because of the liquid smoke. It is also one of those things, like other things I've talked about. It's not like cinnamon, vanilla, where you can go over. You don't go over. This is exact. So this is 1.5 teaspoons of the liquid smoke. I would rather you go under than over, and it comes out pretty hard. That was my 1 teaspoon. There's my half. Yeah, so this is not 1 you want to go over. If you spill too much, you might want to just dump and go again. I'm just saying, because I've done it before. It's not a good experience. Now for our seasonings, we need 1/2 teaspoon of these 3. We need some onion powder. We need smoked paprika. You could use regular paprika also. I just happen to have this smoked. Okay, and then garlic powder. 1/2 teaspoon of each. Joe, can you smell it yet? Isn't that interesting? That it's liquid smoke. That's what makes it, really. Okay, so I've got that all mixed up. I don't know if you can see it in the camera up there. Okay. Now we're going to open up our carrots. This is a 1 pound, and these are perfect. I am normally not one who buys baby carrots because I just assume cut them myself, and they are cheaper. But in this case, I'm not going to do all the work to get them to the shape of the little weenies. So I'm using the 1 pound bag. We're going to dump into the Instapot, and then we're going to pour the marinade over. Stir it around. And this is only going to take 2 minutes. Yes, you heard me right. So for those who do not have an electric pressure cooker, while it's also coming up to pressure, it's still partially, in my opinion, cooking some of this stuff. Because sometimes, depending on the pressure cooker you have, it needs 10, 15, 20 minutes to get up to temperature. This case, I wouldn't do it. But another tip about your electric pressure cooker is if you add hot water to it, it will come up to pressure quicker. So if you're making rice or a grain or a bean, if that is the case, then you would come up to temp much quicker. This is a marinade. That's not going to work, so we're not going to do that. So even if I got the vegetable broth up to temp, it's not going to help in this case. But if I was just doing carrots without this marinade, then I would just put a cup of hot water. So Joe got the Instant Pot for me, and he's turned it on. I have the Pampered Chef version of it. So do you want to get me the lid? And then I can go get it while you get the camera. So we're going to turn this. Can you see in there? Turn this on. Every pressure cooker is different. So for me, I always make sure that the pressure knobs are facing each other. So I make sure it comes up to pressure. And then in this case, I'm going to go custom time, and we're going to go down to 2 minutes. And this will be a quick release. You do not want to just let it go and go and go, because the point is, you don't want these to get so done that they're just falling apart. You want them to be perfectly cooked by the time you put that barbecue sauce on them. Because once we get them out of here, we're going to drain this marinade. We're going to come back, drain the marinade. I'm going to make the same sauce for both the weenies and this. They'll go, the weenies will go back in this one, and I'll put the real weenies, I guess you could say, in another one, and then they'll cook for about 90 minutes, like get warm. Then we'll come back and we'll taste both of them. So that's what we're going to do here. So we'll see you in just a few minutes. Okay, so we're back. I have let the pressure out. I did the 2 minutes, did the quick release. And what that, if you're not familiar with that, you immediately come over and you start letting the air out. If you want to just let it go, the air will naturally release in 2 to 3 minutes. I mean, 10 to 12 minutes. Really depends on what you have in there. If I got beans, I'm going to let it just quick. I'm going to let it do natural. But for something like this, I don't want it to overcook. So I immediately took the air out. And for some reason, there you go. So open this up. Can you see? Oh. And be honest, Joe, you can smell that smoky, hot doggy flavor, okay? So now I'm going to drain these, but I'm going to keep the marinade. There is nothing wrong with this marinade, and I'm going to throw it in the freezer once it cools, because this is going to be a staple in our home for parties and things like that. So I will be able to reuse this marinade a couple more times with carrots. So that's my plan. You don't have to throw it away. It's not like a meat marinade. Okay, so I'm going to dump these and drain them. Okay, and then I'm going to put them back in here because I'm going to use this as a slow cooker. Not everyone might do that. I don't know everybody's different quick cookers, but mine can act as a slow cooker. If I can find it. Oh, yeah, there it is. So you don't have to do a complete drain, just most of it. Okay, so let's set that aside, and then let's go make our actual sauce. And make sure you know I'm talking about. So these are the little Smokies, little wieners. They're called different things. They look like this. And I'm going to put them inside the crock pot. Another tip of the day. I think this is number 4. These are made, if you can find them, for things like this can become sticky. It makes cleanup of your crock pot easier. And also, if you're taking it to a function, it's easy, especially if everybody's eating it, to just throw this in the person's trash, and then you don't have to take home a crock pot just that's icky and dirty and things like that. So these are a lifesaver. So I'm going to open up the little wieners and put them into the crock pot. Okay. So now we've got everybody in their respective pan, and now we need to make our sauce. And years ago, back when we owned the sub shop, remember when the Allstate agent was next to us and that one really nice lady worked there? We must have had a party or something. She had the best marinade on her weenies and meatballs. And shockingly, it was grape jelly and barbecue sauce mixed 50-50. Blow me away. I couldn't believe there was jelly in there, but it works. So this is some apple pear jelly that Joe canned last year. So I'm going to put a cup of that into this. So I might be finishing this one. I think you got more in the cupboard. And then we're going to do a cup of barbecue sauce. Now the barbecue sauce that I found is a no oil barbecue sauce, which is very hard to find. I used to only be able to get bone sucking. This is rib rack, and I can actually get this at a regular grocery store. Bone sucking I can only get here at Farm and Fleet. Farm and Fleet's not far from our house, but sometimes just going to one store is easier than going to two. So I'm going to dump in a cup of the barbecue sauce. And then we stir. You already have all the spices you need either in the sauces, or for us, we did the marinade, which basically makes those have the smokiness of the little wieners. So we're just going to stir this up really good. It doesn't matter if you have some chunks of the grape jelly. Some people use orange marmalade. The only thing I caution about that, if you think your crowd might not like it, because if you look at orange marmalade, it's got the little the zest. You can see the zest, and not everybody might want to see that in the food. I'm not saying it would be a great flavor, but that could be a turnoff for some. So I tend to use grape jelly because it's, you wouldn't want to use strawberry anything. You would need to use grape. So we're going to put, so this made 2 cups of sauce. We're going to put a cup in each one. Maybe a little bit more. This was a 14-ounce package, so it's a little less than the pound. So let's put this in here. Stir this around a little bit more. There we go. And as this cooks down, it'll coat everything. And then we'll put a cup in here. I'll leave a little bit and see who needs a little bit more maybe. Honestly, do they smell like the exact same thing?
All you smell is the
smoke. That's exactly right. Okay, so I think those are coated nicely. So I think I'm going to add this little bit that's left over here into the weenies. Just think, you try this recipe out and you like it, you're going to get another veggie in addition to your veggie tray that you might have at a football party or a whatever kind of party it is. So let's turn this one on low. And I'm going to cook them for about 60 to 90 minutes. Obviously, you would want to time it for a party. We don't have a party today. We're just doing the video, and then we'll enjoy them as a snack this afternoon while we watch the game. By the way, go Pack Go. We're Packer fans in this house. So we're going to let this go, and I'm going to turn this on the slow cooker function here. Also, like I said, I wouldn't want to go back to using on the Instapot. Otherwise, you would need now you could just do another 2 minutes. Oh, I guess, come here, Joe. I forgot to show this. I want to show you how much they got done in the 2 minutes they pressure cooked. So let's just put her forward. See, there's some resistance there, but not, they're pretty much all the way cooked. So let me just show you, let me do one up here. Maybe that would be helpful. A big one. So if I put it up here, see, I can get the fork almost through it. So it did, just in that 2 minutes, probably 50% cook them. Probably more like 75%. So just like when those are fully cooked, these are 80 or 75% cooked. So now it's just a matter of getting the sauce to caramelize and coat them and the deliciousness of that. So we're going to turn this to slow cook. There we go. We do not want 4 hours. We're going to go down to an hour and a half. And then once these are done, I'll check those. And then we'll come back and we'll give you a taste test of both. See you in a bit. Welcome back. We now have the finished product. So they went for 90 minutes. I would say easily, if you want to leave them on low, up to 2.5 hours, it would be fine. So I've put in the recipe 60 to 90 minutes, but you can go as high as 2.5 hours. And the other thing I wanted to mention while these cool just a little bit, because they were really hot when I took them out, is for the carrots at least, they don't have to be necessarily for football season or potluck or anything. They could also be a side dish for the carrots. So keep that in mind. And the other thing I forgot to say, there are times I have done the first step where you cook them in the marinade and get them the 75% of the way cooked. And then you can drain them and put them in the fridge. And then the day of an event, you could put them in the crock pot the same time you put weenies and get them going that way. So you don't have to do all that in one day. So I know that sometimes that's helpful when we're all planning parties, that you don't have to do everything in the same day. A dump and go is always nice. So if Joe wants to come in here, we're going to give these a try. So you can see with the carrots, they go right through, but they're not mushy. You don't want mushy carrots for this. You want them to have a little bit of resistance. You need more sauce?
Sure.
Now, do they still kind of taste like carrots? Yeah, I'm not going to lie. You are not subbing one for the other. But for a great substitute, it's great. You don't like cooked carrots, so I'm curious what you think. He likes raw but not cooked. Our son liked cooked and not raw. That was fun when our son lived at home. Just doing that.
So these have a little bit of resistance, but not much at all. I mean, you can, like she said, you can fork right in them, but it does have a little bit of body still. It's not falling apart. And if you are blindfolded, I would be able to taste the difference. But the barbecue sauce, like she said, I'm not necessarily like, if you just boil carrots, they're pretty bland and pretty useless. But with the barbecue sauce, or her version of that barbecue sauce with that marinade and stuff, there's not a lot of difference. They're definitely something, if I'm willing to even try it and say that's not bad, it stands a lot for what it is, because those are not bad. I can see a lot of people eating those if they want a healthier alternative to my little Smokies that I like to eat on game day.
Yep. So there you go. That's what we wanted to show you today. So let us know in the comments, are you willing to give these a try? Oh, and I know one last tip. I know I've given a lot today. I used to have, a long time ago, I had an insert for my crock pot, and it was literally divided. And boy, that would have been nice in this case, because then I could have put the weenies on one side and the carrots on the other side, and that would have been awesome. So if you have that, that's a great way to use those differences. So thank you all so much for joining us. If you like what you're seeing, you could do a like, or if you subscribe, then you'll know every time that we put a video out, which is every Wednesday evening. So thank you for joining us on One Dish, Two Ways, and we'll see you next week.